Hello guys, welcome back to IC Shades and to our 2D Arena game course. In this one we will make a universal spawner which will spawn randomly our power-ups. We will add an animation to the power-ups, and all I ask of you is to click that IC like button and the subscribe button as well. If you are ready, let's dive into it. We have two power-up spawners and two scripts, and we want a universal power-up spawner with only one script. So we will go into our power-up spawner and we will create a list of game objects. So list lesser than and greater than, and here we write game object. And now we have a list of game objects, and when we call an element from that list, we write PowerUp prefab like this here, and we add open and close brackets, and in the open and close brackets we write the number of the element, and we will declare a variable element of type int right here up, int element semicolon. Now Control S to save, go into Unity, and now when we click on the PowerUp spawner game object, we will see in the inspector that we have the list right here, and the list has the size 0 right now. So we will go into prefabs and we will drag in the list our prefabs. I will rename the thunder, this thunder, to yellow thunder because we have a red thunder. Now we have a yellow thunder. A yellow thunder, okay. Power up spawner, and we will drag the yellow thunder and the red thunder here. So now we have in our list the yellow thunder and the red thunder, and as you can see the first element has number 0 and not 1. This is very important. Okay, so go back into your script and we have to give an int to this element, and we want to make it a random one, so we will write element because we want when we instantiate the power up to be a random power up from those two. So we write element equals random.range, as we did in another video, random.range, and in the parentheses we will write 0 colon 2 semicolon. Why do we write like this? If we don't write f, then the random.range will access only integer numbers, but we have a small rule here. The first number is included, but the last number is excluded. So if we want 0 and 1, we have to write 0 colon 2. If we want, let's say, from 0 to 9, we will write 0 colon 10. So the last number is excluded. Very important. Control S, go back into Unity. We will disable the PowerUp spawner too. So click on it. You have here a checkbox. This disables a game object or a component if you want. And now we will click play, and let's see if our universal spawner spawns red and yellow thunders. We have a yellow, we have a red, and then it's okay. The universal spawner spawns randomly our power-ups. I want to fix a little bit our scene because at some point, I don't know when, I did something wrong. So I will go into the sprites, and as you can see, my floor is not on the pixels that I wanted. So pixels per unit 100, and if you remember, we switched it to 512. Okay, and now I want to fix my walls because I think they are a little thicker. So click on the walls, and I will press and control and drag them a little bit halfway to the sides. Okay, this one's and the right one as well. And do not forget to modify the colliders as well if you want to do this with me. Modify the colliders on every wall. Okay, this one as well, and this one too. And of course the floor, click on the rect tool, and with my control pressed, I will extend it through the walls, and that's that. Let's make an animation. So you can make two types of animations: a keyframe animation, in which you must draw every position of your game object and then insert it into Unity, or a bone animation, in which you can manipulate the position, the rotation, the scale of a game object, and then Unity will create an animation. Let's delete the PowerUp spawner too, because we don't need it anymore. And now we will drag the yellow thunder into our scene, and we will click the three dots here, and we will add tab, and we will add animation. Now we will go into the project, and we will create another folder here. We can also delete the PowerUp spawner too from here. Delete. We will add a folder here, and we will name it animations. Come on, add the folder. Ooh, okay, animations. And we will open this folder, because wherever we are, then when we create the animation, it will be created in that folder. So click the yellow thunder and then click on create. This will create the animation PowerUp spawner animation. Save, or sorry, PowerUp animation. PowerUp animation. This creates an animator controller, and an animation. So the animator is a component that we must attach to our prefab, to our game object that we want to animate. So animator is here in the inspector. The animator controller must be put in the animator component right here, and you can find it in the animations, and you have the animation that is stored in the control, in the animator as well. Go into animation. I will drag this to the right so you can see. And now we want to make our PowerUp to pulse. We want to make it pulse. So we will add property, and how do we make it pulse? We modify its scale. So click here on transform, and then click the plus in front of scale. So now you will see frames. You will see the first one here and the last one here. So in this second, we will manipulate this scale so that our game object will be in the first frame. The scale will be 1, because that is the scale of our game object. Somewhere in the middle, we will put the scale down, and then in the last frame, the scale will go back to 1. So from 1, it will scale down to, let's say, 0.9, and then scale up back to 1. We will do that by clicking the record here, the red button. Then we will go in the middle of our sequence here. And then we will go in the inspector, and you will see on the scale a reddish look here, and that tells you that you can modify the scale in the animation. And we will go on the X and Y to 0.9 and 0.9. Now we will unselect the recording button, and we will zoom here a little bit and click on this preview play, and we will see that our PowerUp is pulsating, which is okay. We will unclick play, and we will drag this back. And now we have to add these modifications to the prefabs. So click on the yellow thunder, and you will see here overrides. If you click here, you will see the thing that we will apply to the prefab. Transform and animator, we will apply all. Now we can delete the yellow thunder, and we will click play to see if the yellow thunders that are spawning are also pulsating. So the thunders are pulsating, the yellow ones, and the red ones are staying on their position. So we said we can change the position, the rotation, the scale of a game object with the animation. We have done the scale, but for the position we must make a small artifact, because if we leave it like this, the position will be relative to the scene, and we will have to make it relative to the game object. You will see why in the next video. And until then, stay frosty and extra spicy.